In this class we are going to explain the 5 ways of St. Thomas Aquinas in order to demonstrate, to prove God's existence. So the first one, the starting point is this motion. We see motion in the world. That motion understood as the movement, the motion from potentiality to act. Creatures in the world are moving. They are trying to reach something and they come from somewhere, so to speak. So that movement which is happening, that passing from the potentiality to act, cannot be given just by themselves, because we see that it's given by others. You know, someone gives to you motivation to do something and then you do it. For instance, a coach in a soccer team. So someone is helping you to move, right? Somehow. So the movement, the motion we see in creatures is caused by some other creature, and that some other creature usually is being moved at its time by another creature. So St. Augustine says you cannot, motion is caused by someone or by something, but this change, this is at the same time is moved by something, okay? But it is not possible that this chain is infinite, okay? Doesn't go to the infinite. Because if that chain were infinite, that would be God, you know? The infinite being is only God. So that chains of beings transferring motion to others cannot be infinite. So there must be, at the beginning of the chain, the unmoved mover, which is God. Someone which is not moved by nothing, by anything else, but that being is able to transmit motion to other beings. That would be the first way of St. Thomas Aquinas. The second way of St. Thomas Aquinas starts in the fact that things are caused. We see in the world that creatures are caused. And you are here because your parents, and your parents are here because of your grandparents, right? So things are caused by something else. And this one at the same time by something else. You know? And so on. But you cannot bring this chain to the infinite. These chains cannot be infinite. Because the only infinite thing is God. So there must be at the beginning of the chain a cause, not caused by anybody. And that's God. Then there is the third way in St. Thomas Aquinas. The third one is about the beginning is we see in this world perishable beings. Okay. Beings which are here, and they could have been here or they could have not been here. Okay, but they are not vital for the world, right? So this tree is here, but it could have not been here. And nobody would have said anything, because it's not important, it's not definitively important for the consistency of the universe. Or each one of us, we are here, but we could have not existed. If we hadn't existed, nobody would have ever missed us in a family meal, etc. And nothing would have happened. So we see that in this world there are perishable things. Things that are not necessary, or that are, the philosophical term is contingent. We see that things are contingent. Okay? But not everything can be contingent. Because if everything were contingent, there wouldn't have been things. Okay? So there must be a necessary being, which is God. The one which is necessary and has the power to give being. Because all the being we see here in these perishable things, that being is given, is not produced by themselves, by the things themselves, by themselves. So there must be this necessary being. The fourth way of St. Thomas Aquinas, proving God's existence, starts in degrees of goodness. Fourth way, degrees of goodness we see in creation. If there is degrees of goodness, I must be able to say that there is the perfect good being somehow. If I see lots of people in a room, I can say that some of them are taller than others. And I can say as well, there must be one who is the tallest one in the room, right? So we see degrees of goodness in creation, which means there are different degrees that we can explain somehow. Plus, if there is degrees, there must be one which is the best in that quality. So degrees of goodness in creation leads me to think that there must be a most good being, which is God. Okay. Plus, there is a standard in my mind which sets me to think that there is a degree of goodness here, there is a degree of goodness here, there is a degree of goodness here. When I make that judgment, that idea of goodness that I have in my mind is an idea which doesn't change, which is grounded in God. So this is something that St. Augustine used to say, if you remember, in our classes. And St. Anselm of Canterbury and Boetius talked about also this. I can make a judgment about the degrees of goodness I see in creation. But this would be the fourth way. And the fifth one starts in the fact that in creation we see that beings are ordered, are oriented to an end. To an end or to a goal. And here's the thing, that doesn't happen by chance, not by chance. Because if it were by chance, we wouldn't be able of predicting what is going to happen, and we can predict many things that happen. We can predict nights and days, and many things, the weather, etc. Because there are cycles of patterns of behavior in creatures, because creatures are set towards an end or towards a goal. So it is predictable, so it's not by chance, and if it's there, it is that end has been placed by someone else, not by the creatures itself, because creatures itself are not smart to give themselves that orientation to that end. So there must be an intelligent being which has set creation in order to go after some goals or ends. So that must be the intelligent being. So that's basically the 5 ways of St. Thomas Aquinas proving God's existence. The unmoved mover, the cause not itself caused, the necessary being, the most good being, and the intelligent being.